Hello, welcome again to the Not So Official podcast. I am your host, Big T, welcoming you back. A lot happened this past week in college football, so let's go ahead and look at the games and get back at it. Okay. First on the docket was Auburn versus Washington. War Eagle, you know what it is. Big win for the Tigers, but a lot of polishing, a lot of mistakes to be made. Washington came out and played pretty dang good after that first quarter. However, could not sustain it. Both the Tigers and the Huskies need to work on not only starting strong but finishing strong as well. Auburn looked dynamite in the first quarter with Stidham throwing the rock all over the place, and need to work on finishing as well. But good win for the Auburn Tigers, and still a lot of hope left for the Huskies in their season as well. Next is Bama and Louisville. Finally, we get to put the rest of the quarterback controversy that's been plaguing and covering the Crimson Tide for the offseason. Tua Tagovailoa is QB1, and another revelation. Bama's just as good as they were last year, picking up where they left off and putting a 51-14 smackdown on Louisville, who looked helpless at times to really do anything with the Tide. Third game for the SEC, Vanderbilt, Middle Tennessee State. Definitely impressive on both sides of the ball for Vanderbilt. Middle Tennessee has a very good squad. Coach Stocksville always gets them ready to play. Vandy was led by Kyle Shermer, who led an efficient passing attack with a very nice complementary run game, and the D had 5 sacks and a half, so that's always a good way to start your year with the defense firing on all cylinders. Moving on to the ACC, a big shocker. Miami and LSU, unexpected would be an understatement. LSU going through quarterback controversy itself. However, the running game kicked off impressive. But more than that, the defense for LSU was really lights out and all over the place. And Miami looked like a Far Cry team from the team that went 10-0 last year at one point. So the Canes have their work cut out for them. And if they want to get that turnover chain on TV a little bit more, they're going to have to put forth a little more effort. Shocker number 2 from the ACC. Virginia Tech and FSU, another surprise. Virginia Tech looked reminiscent to the old Frank Beamer clubs that used to come out and beat you with 2 to 3 phases of the game, whether that be offense and special teams, defense. This particular one looked a lot like the old Frank Beamer teams, the early 2000s, coming out with a solid defense and great special teams play. Very impressed and real interested to see where they go from now. But for now, hokey high. I know Willie Taggart doesn't want to hear that, but the Noles, I don't expect them to stay down too long. There's a lot of talent in Tallahassee, and Willie Taggart just has to maybe move a few pieces around and get the mindset right, so to speak, for them to start having some success down there in Tallahassee. Finally, from the ACC, we had Duke and Army. Duke benefited from a solid game on the ground and through the air by Daniel Jones. Held off the Black Knights with their win and won 34-14. Not much to say, just David Cutcliffe taking care of business against a solid Army team, but let's face it, they're still Army. Moving on to the Pac-10, we had an interesting game. North Carolina and Cal. Cal led by Patrick Laird on the ground, and the Bears held on a second-half surge by the Tar Heels to hold on for the 7-point victory, 24-17. I gotta wonder if the Tar Heels don't have all their players thanks to the Jordan misdealings. if they don't give Cal a better run for their money and maybe have the few missing pieces that were needed for the win. More to come on that. Kind of a surprise. Colorado and Colorado State squaring off in Mile High Stadium. Steve Montez had a great game for the Buffs with over 300 yards passing and 4 TDs. So the kid was really slinging around the yard as the Colorado Buffaloes made it 4 in a row against their in-state rivals. As the Rams look to rebound coming up next week, Colorado is looking very impressive, to be honest with you. I saw the highlights and saw a few clips. A lot of good things going to come from them. Okay. Finally, BYU at Arizona. Love this name, Squally Canada. Managed to find pay dirt 3 times as BYU spoiled Kevin Sumlin's debut for the Arizona Wildcats. Looking to get his man Khalil Tate a little more involved. He was not the same runner as he was last year. Of course, it's a different scheme, different coach, different offense. But Kevin Sumlin's also the guy that walked into Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. So if anybody knows how to use a mobile quarterback, it's him. Moving on to the Big Ten, what would have been my cupcake of the week got pushed because Ohio State and Oregon State, no Urban Meyer, no problem, as the Buckeyes trounced the Beavers by 44 in a contest that was never really a contest at all. Moving on, Indiana, Florida International, the Hoosiers put 28 points up in the first half and cemented their win with another 10 points in the second half to get their first win of the season against the Panthers. So good on the boys from Bloomington. Finally, the big game in the Big Ten, of course, Notre Dame and Michigan. Brandon Wimbush ended up leading the Irish in passing and in rushing as the Golden Domers managed to beat the Wolverines 24-17 in a very evenly matched game. Michigan managed to keep the game close with a touchdown in the last 5 minutes, bringing them to within a touchdown. Unfortunately, they just couldn't manage to get that last visit to pay dirt into the end zone. Okay. Moving on to the Big 12, Texas Tech and Ole Miss. I thought this was going to be a lot closer. Ended up being Ole Miss 47, Texas Tech 27. It does not appear that the Texas Tech that I remember from early and mid-2000s with Cliff Kingsbury and the Red Raider fun and gun Mike Leach offense is there. However, Texas Tech defense did very little to slow down the Ole Miss receivers trio known as the NWO, or the Nasty Whiteouts. Love the name. Harking back to the old wrestling days. Gotta love that. Jordan Tamamua threw for over 300 yards. And Scotty Phillips, remember this name. He had a career day with 200-plus yards and 2 scores on the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know he's going to be a guy to watch here within the next few months and within the few years in the SEC West. West Virginia, Tennessee squared off in Charlotte. West Virginia exploded with a 20-point third quarter, and Will Grier validated the crap out of his Heisman talk as he threw for 429 yards and 5 touchdowns. He found his favorite target, David Sills, 7 times for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, proving that duo is still the deadliest, one of the deadliest in the nation. Finally, Texas and Maryland, the Terps really played inspired football, honoring their late teammate Jordan McNair, who passed away during spring during a training session. They honored him with a 5-point victory in the Redskins Stadium in Landover, Maryland. It alleviates a lot of heartache and a lot of frustration as Matt Canada gets his first win as an interim head coach. So good for them. I'm happy for them. Texas is going to have to turn around and regroup because their schedule is all over the place, and they have USC coming up here for too long. So Horns are going to have to figure something out real quick, and hopefully the Terps continue to play inspired football. Real big fan. Finally, Cupcake of the Week, South Carolina, Coastal Carolina. The line to beat was 28. Score was 49-15. Gang Crocs, course cruised an easy win, covering the spread with ease. So, if you're playing along at the house, how did you do? Well, if you're like me, didn't do too well. Won about 50% of my games this week. I need to do better, and I will do better. All right. This is Big T signing off for the week one recap of the not so official NCAA Pick'em. Hopefully you'll join me next time and play along at the house. Thanks.